When somebody asks me who's the best Valorant team of all time, I really want to be able to say PaperX, but as I was stood watching them walk out for their 5th grand final at Masters London, battle it out for over 5 hours against Leviathan, and lose another international trophy to a young team, I just thought, why can't you win a second trophy and be the best team of all time? PaperX probably should be the best Valorant team of all time. Some people will already say they are, but after another lost grand final, I don't know if I'm convinced. But if it's not PaperX, then who is it? Today we'll discuss who the best Valorant team of all time is, and why this question is much harder to answer than it might first seem. To answer this question, we kind of have to define what we actually mean. Let's start with team, because team and organization mean very different things. Let's take Sentinels as an example. As an organization, they have 2 trophies, Masters Reykjavik 2021 and Masters Madrid 2024. I mean, TenZ was on both, but other than that, they were completely different teams. Please unretire my king. Fnatic, on the other hand, won 2 trophies with exactly the same team. If we're talking about PaperX, I would still consider them the same team from Copenhagen compared to London, because they have Forsaken, Deviant, and Jing, and Edward Gaming are still the same team from 2022, but if you're looking at Leviathan from 2022 compared to now, those are different teams. Basically, if a core has stayed the same on the same organization, they're probably still the same team. Okay, but what do we mean by best? I'm defining best here as a balance of a team's peak and their consistency. I think you could also say greatest for this as well, but I'm using best here because it sounds better in the title, okay? So who are our contenders? Let's look at PaperX. First of all, they're international winners. This is kind of the baseline for this question. If you haven't won an international trophy, you can't really be considered as the best team of all time. Sorry about that, G2. But PaperX's big strength in this debate is their international consistency. They've made it to 5 grand finals and have 9 top 4 placements at international events. PaperX also have the story. They're from a previously minor region in Valorant, they have a super interesting playstyle, and their players are really fun to watch. That does go a long way when you're talking about the legacy of these teams in Valorant. But I think one of the most underrated aspects of PaperX's legacy in Valorant is how consistently they qualify for international events. They've only missed 1 event since the start of 2022. If you're someone who just tunes in for international events, you're going to know who PaperX are, and you're going to expect them to be there every time. That's not to mention their regional consistency, of course. They've dominated Pacific almost every single year, and they've beaten every single team and every single player in that region. So they have the international trophy and they have the consistency, but that consistency could actually be their biggest problem. But if your internet connection is prone to choking in the big moments, then unlike PaperX, you maybe can do something about it, because the sponsor of today's video, Exit Lag, has got you covered. Sorry for the terrible segue, but I've recently moved house and I haven't had broadband installed yet, which has meant I've had to use mobile hotspot to try and play Valorant. If you've ever tried it, you'll know that is a terrible idea. I don't want to be getting destroyed by people playing like Prime Yay in Deathmatch on 6 ping while I'm out here trying not to disconnect from my games. But luckily, I have been able to play Valorant without internet issues thanks to Exit Lag. Their software uses route optimization and multipath connection through dedicated servers all around the world to make my inputs go to the server as quickly as possible and stabilize my connection. So all I need to do is install Exit Lag and turn it on, and just like that, my mobile hotspot connection is pretty solid. And this isn't just in Valorant. Exit Lag supports all of the major esports games I know you guys like to play as well. So if you struggle with not having that crispy connection in your games, just click my link in the description, create an account, download Exit Lag and try it for yourself. And if you sign up now, you'll even get 50% off the annual plan and an extra 90 days for free. Thank you so much to Exit Lag for sponsoring the video, and let's get back to it, shall we? I thought the choking narrative for PaperX was going to stop after Toronto and they won that first trophy. I thought they'd go into grand finals after that without the pressure of having to win their first one. But clearly, in 2026, that hasn't happened. They've lost both grand finals this year, and that's put their record at 1-4. This is generational choking. For a team that's qualified this consistently and plays so high this consistently, having a 1-4 record in grand finals, which is a 20% win rate, is pretty terrible. That's not to mention that 3 of those grand finals had map ban advantages for PaperX. And this is what I mean when I say international consistency is almost a curse when you don't win trophies. If PaperX went on to play the grand final of champions this year and lost it, would that actually help their legacy or hurt them? How many do they have to lose to be discounted from the conversation altogether? Can you really be the best team of all time with a 1-6 record, a 1-8 record, or a 1-10 record? If they had a 10% win rate in grand finals, can you really be the best team of all time? I mean, Alex said it himself in the press conference after they lost the grand finals of Masters London.
I mean, it feels the same. If you're not first place, you're last place. Same for us.
So if it's not PaperX, then who else is in the running? Okay, Boaster, I'll address the elephant in the room. Fnatic are undoubtedly the runners-up in this conversation. When we talk about the best team at any given point in the game, that 2023 Fnatic roster trumps everybody else on pure talent alone. This team had the best IGL of all time, they had one of the GOATs in consideration, they had the best duelist of all time, one of the best Sentinel players of all time, and someone who could have become the best player ever in Leo. They also won 2 trophies. No other team has done that. I mentioned Sentinels earlier, but they weren't the same team. But the thing with Fnatic is that they haven't won a trophy since that team. And that was 3 years ago. That's half the lifespan of the esport now. To me, that team from 2023 feels like a moment in time, not a team that has consistently been great over multiple years. I think that was because in 2024, they didn't make any top 4 in international events. And when we talk about years going on, 2025, of course, they made 2 grand finals, but in 2026, they haven't made an international event. That being said, if Fnatic won a Champions Trophy, of course, they'd surpass PaperX as the #1 best team of all time. But right now, I'm not sure. In terms of teams who could enter that conversation, I would say Edward Gaming are up there. They're the only one out of these teams I've mentioned that have actually won a Champions Trophy, and they consistently qualify for international events. They carried a whole region on their back who are multiple years behind, but that kind of sets them back because they're qualifying in a region that maybe isn't as strong as PaperX and Fnatic. I would say the same for EDG. If they won another trophy, even a Masters trophy, that would push them probably into the top spot. Some people will also bring up G2 because of how consistently they've qualified for international events, but without an international trophy, they just can't be considered. Sentinels are up there because they're the only other 2-time winners as an organization, but as a team, they've gone through so many changes, I think they'd have to get 10s back and win another one, to be honest. But we can discuss these teams all we want. The real question is there actually even a best team at this point in the game? I think the thing that makes this question really difficult to answer is that our Champions winners have not been consistent with our Masters winners. No team has won a Masters and the Champions, and each year it seems like Champions is won by a team that maybe wasn't expected to win coming in. You look at EG, EDG, NRG, all of those teams were kind of on underdog runs. I think if Loud had gone on to win Lock-In, then maybe they would have a shout in this conversation too, but they didn't, so oh well. I think until we see a true dynasty, it's almost impossible to give the team a title of the best ever. But that brings another question. Will we ever see a dynasty in Valorant? Dynasties are prevalent in almost every single sport, so why haven't we seen one in Valorant yet? I think there's a few different reasons. First of all, we only have 3 international events in the year. That really isn't many chances for a team to prove themselves as the best in the game, and it means if you lose one in the year, then that dynasty is kind of cooked. But I think the bigger argument I've seen from people in the Valorant space is that Valorant changes too much to have dynasties.
The game's too snowbally for it to be like that, and it changes too much for us to have dynasties, so it's like...
And there's definitely some merit to this. Part of the reason we saw Fnatic dominate so much in that year is that the meta didn't change all too much, and they were able to keep playing the same comfortable playstyle that won them the first 2 trophies. We've seen teams like Nongshim have a meta that really suits them and completely stomp an entire international tournament. For a team to maintain a dynasty, they either need to play through the same meta for almost successive years, or they need to have a super flexible roster that can adapt to any meta that might come next. This is part of the reason why PaperX are so consistent at qualifying to international events. They have a very flexible team and have been able to adapt to most metas that have come their way. Some of the most interesting stories in sports history involve teams or players that were dominant through eras. If we never have that in Valorant, are we ever going to have a storyline where a dominant team gets taken down? I don't think I'm alone when I say I'd like to see a dynasty form at some point in Valorant, just so we get that dominant storyline for a team. If we keep seeing teams like Nongshim and Leviathan with rookies winning international tournaments, does that diminish what it takes to be a team at the top of Valorant? And does it give credence to the argument that Valorant is a little bit random? Okay, so all of that to say, are PaperX the best Valorant team of all time? At the moment, I don't think there is one. I don't think any team deserves the moniker of the best team of all time until they've had some kind of dynasty or at least won a Masters and a Champions trophy. But if PaperX do win Champions this year, then I think they can be called the best team of all time. Having a year where you've made all 3 grand finals and won a Champs trophy while having a Masters trophy in the background probably solidifies you as the best team ever. But if they make it to the final and lose again, a 1-5 record in the finals would be diabolical. I don't think you can be considered the best team of all time if you can't win when it matters. But the most likely scenario is that a team comes out of nowhere and wins Champions as an underdog once again, and we continue the narrative that there will never be a true best team of all time in Valorant. I guess we'll find out in Shanghai later this year when Kang wins another Champs trophy on home turf and becomes the GOAT once and for all. Okay, maybe not. But anyway, please do let me know your thoughts on this discussion in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys think. A quick update from me as well. I've got some really cool videos coming on the way, and I'm officially a full-time YouTuber now. So don't worry about me waiting 4 months to upload another video. It's not gonna happen. But with all that said, I've been Commend. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and thank you for watching.